Welcome back to this Grafana full course that I have designed for this current year. And it has so many videos in this Grafana full course playlist. If you are really looking to understand Grafana from scratch, please do check out all the others, chapters in the same, course. So today, what we are going to see, we will be checking, or we have already talked about a lot of things in Grafana Cloud, but we have not talked about how to enable the infrastructure monitoring from a virtual machine, not from Kubernetes cluster. So today we will be talking about how to enable the full infrastructure monitoring using Grafana Cloud from my Ubuntu box. So what you need to do, you already have a Grafana Cloud account with you. You need to come to this home page. Will be doing all the practical things so that it will be easy for understanding. You come to this integrations. The moment you come to integration, you click on add new integration. Okay. And then because we are doing a Ubuntu based infrastructure monitoring. So we have done a lot of things on Kubernetes. Today we will not see how to enable Kubernetes monitoring. You can check my other videos, but how to enable the Linux Ubuntu based monitor. So it is Debian, Ubuntu Debian flavor, and I can select this, ARM 64 for my virtual machine or anything which is for you. And then you can create a new token or any existing token. Let me create a new token with some name in it. Okay. Correct. So it will give me the installation thing for everything. I mean, entire installation thing. Now this is the installation command that you need to run. But let me copy paste this thing and show it to you into a notepad so that it becomes understanding. So since Grafana Cloud uses Grafana Alloy as an agent. So first of all, let's understand. So this is the environment variable for Prometheus instance. This is the Prometheus ID. This is the scrape interval. This is the Locky instance. This is Locky ID. Okay. This is fleet management that Grafana Cloud does it for you. If you have multiple tenants, then the fleet management is responsible for that. We'll take separate section on that. And then ball frequency, hosted ID. And then this is the admin API key that you just now generated it. And then ultimately, this is the alloy configuration that will get injected into this etc alloy config.alloy. And then now this is something very important to understand how it will fetch the data from your virtual machine. Okay. So this is the entire thing. So I will explain all these things in a greater detail. So let me open this etc alloy from my machine, and then it will be easy for understanding into VS Code. Okay. That is what something I want to explain. So I'm opening the same config.alloy into a VS Code so that it becomes easy for understanding and what this entire thing is doing. Okay, perfect. So we are saying, so it is an OpenTelemetry based collector. So you don't need to have additional exporter installed on your machine. Like for example, the node exporter that is completely not needed. Okay, so there are possibly, potentially there are only three things that happen. Discovery.relabel means it will export the endpoint which will be read by Alloy as in scraping. Prometheus.scrape is another component that will read the endpoint that is being generated by relabel. So this is the keyword of creating an endpoint. This is something which will refer into the next thing. Prometheus.scrape it will scrape the relabel that is being generated in the previous step. And what it is doing, it is as a rule, it will change the name of the column from constant.hostname to instance, and constant.hostname to alloy hostname. Okay, and then replacement of this to job. So this is an OpenTelemetry based collector alloy. So this is the discovery.relevel. This is the first point, first step. And second step is scraping this endpoint, which is being used in the second step. And ultimately, it will forward to the Prometheus relabel alloy check receiver, which will ultimately send to Prometheus remote write, which is our Prometheus endpoint, which is there in below. Now, this is the first Prometheus scrape endpoint. Now, what is the second Prometheus scrape endpoint? This is something everyone wants to understand. This is the node exporter. This is again, the node exporter is coming from Alloy itself, discovery.relabel. It will you know, instantiate the endpoint, and then it will send this thing to this target. And again, it is doing that renaming of two columns, target label, target job. Now you see Prometheus exporter Unix, and this is the label and this target. So this generation of endpoint will send data to this scraping endpoint, which will be scraped Now, there are certain things that we can provide under this component. Like we can disable collectors with these file systems. We can include file systems, include, exclude, and exclude all these file systems that is not needed from my virtual machine. Mount point exclude not equals to this, and then mount point timeout. This is a 5 second. Okay. Net class is something which will include all the network related matrices, and then similarly for device. So this is the scraping interval endpoint. Now this, so first was relabel, then second is exporter, then we have done some filtration, and this is the uh, uh, you know where are we? Yes, so this is the scrape thing. So it is saying read everything from here and then send it to the Prometheus relabel integration node export receiver. So we can do further massaging. So I am doing further massaging in this. So I'm saying please drop all the matrices. So this is a rule. So source label means uh, any metric name comes under underscore underscore name underscore underscore. So this is the label of any metric. Now I'm saying if any metric which is having name starting with this, please drop this because this is not needed for us. This is unnecessarily push off matrices to my Grafana account. This is how we minimize, or if we don't need matrices pertaining to that, we normally minimize like this. This is all about Prometheus. So now this will go to your remote write, which is our Grafana cloud, which is maintained below. I'll show you. This is the remote write. Same thing. Perfect. Now this is all about Prometheus. Now let's see the Loki. So this is the Loki relabel. So this will instantiate the Loki generation part, the logs part, and it will forward to the Grafana Cloud Loki receiver. Now you see Loki relabel is again renaming to labels, but again this Loki relabel is used here. You see, if I double click this, it is this one. Loki relabel integrations node export receiver. Now what I want to show, they have created a function. The Grafana Cloud has given this function so that you can do multiple things. So what is happening? This function forward it to, first of all, it is taking the okay. So taking this first of all, renaming this thing coming from the journal system unit to unit, boot ID to boot, transport. These are all renaming, and then forwarding to all the logs to forward it to value, which is ultimately going to the next scraping interval. This is the clock key. So potentially what is happening, all the logs, default logs, which is being exported by this relabel. Okay. Again, you don't need to do anything, install Promtail, which we ideally used to do it earlier. You remember when we were doing Orthodox Grafana open source, we used to install Promtail and then Locky, and then Promtail was responsible for sending the data to Locky. But in this case, in the OpenTelemetry based Alloy, so you don't need to install anything additionally. So Locky relabel will export, will do the job for Promtail. It will generate the script, the endpoint, and then that will be that will be caught by Locky, right? So we are doing only two things. We're sending metrics to Prometheus and Locky to Locky endpoint, and then we will see that stuff or the data into our Grafana cloud. Perfect. So that is pretty much. So this is, we have copied, pasted it. I will do a restart. I will do next. Okay, and then the same thing I have explained into this VS code. Okay, and then I will do this, and then your connection is good to go. Okay, perfect. So I will install the dashboard and alerts. There are certain pre-built dashboards that are there. Perfect. So setup is done. Let me go back and then do a restart on this service. So I'm restarting that service just to make sure that it should pick all the logs, and then I will see the logs of Alloy service that is running. I should not be able to see, I should not see actually the errors or anything in this. Perfect. Now there's no error. I cannot see any level equals to error in this. So I will go back to my Grafana cloud. Okay. I will go back to explore, and then I will simply run my magic query, which I have it somewhere. Where is my magic query? It should be here. Yeah, this is my magic query. I will see whether any matrices are coming from my virtual machine, from my Ubuntu box. Okay. I will run this. I'm getting some data from last 15 minutes. Yes, the node exporter and the alloy check. So these are the two jobs that I defined in my alloy config. Okay, now let's go back to the dashboard. Uh, or you see the infrastructure. So this was the integration that we did. Let me click on that integrations. Now you see, I will go to view dashboards. Now by default, Grafana Cloud gives a lot of beautiful dashboards. You don't need to import anything. So if I want to see CPU and system, I can quickly open this dashboard and then see what is the status of my CPU and system for last whatever time I want to do it, right? Last 30 minutes. So this is something CPU usage by modes, load average, everything. So let's see the file system and disk. File systems and disk are also being beautifully shown. The benefit of using these integrations dashboard that you don't need to do any additional. So dashboards are really defined in a very nice way, right? So I'll go back and then I will click on other dashboard that has been created. So this is the integration folder, and then I can go to logs. Now let's see the logs. So this is the logs data source. Okay. And then I can see logs from last 15 minutes or so, or I can see logs from my explore mode also, right? So I can quickly go back and then come back here and then search logs like this also. So if I select the instance, I will select my laptop and then I'll search, then I can get all the logs that are coming. Perfect. So Loki Prometheus is doing nicely and I'm getting all the filtration that I did on my machine. Let me go back to dashboards. Let me see any other dashboard that makes more sense. Let me show you the fleet overview. This is the fleet overview. I have only one data coming from Ubuntu. If I have multiple input sources, that I will be getting all the different fleet below in different roles. So let's see if there is anything else which is important to network memory. You can quickly see. I can quickly see the overview overall. The uptime, host name, kernel version, everything is being coming nicely. Memory, disk, everything is coming in this single dashboard. And not only this, you can actually import your popular dashboard, which is the node exporter, which I think I should have already done it. If not, yeah, node exporter full. It is 1860. So you will get the same data here also into different fashion, right? So that is pretty much on this chapter. I want to talk about how to enable the integrations from Ubuntu box and get all the infrastructure monitoring done using your Ubuntu box. If you want, I can create a next chapter on how to enable the infrastructure monitoring for Kubernetes, and then we'll talk about the application monitoring, which is the real important thing in the observability world. And we will be doing everything using Grafana Cloud because that is the easiest and the understanding perspective. And then we'll take about Grafana open source. So do check out the other chapters in Grafana full code. This is a very, very likable course amongst Grafana. And if you have any feedback, please put down in the comment section. And if you really like the video, please do share it with your friends and colleagues so that they can also learn Grafana quickly. Stay tuned. Thank you for now.